I'd like to welcome you to the House of Thrillers. I'm Scully, the author that reads to you. Tonight, we're going to be doing a live rehearsal of A Christmas Carol, the classic by Charles Dickens. So buckle your seatbelts, it's quite the ride, and we'll see you on the other side. I'd like to introduce you guys to the cast tonight. Coming out the chute is Ness Luffer. She's going to be playing quite a few roles. We're looking at the Ghost of Christmas Present and Marley the Ghost and a bunch of others. Let's see, did we lose
Hello,
Okie
everybody.
already?
Thanks for coming.
And we've got Bimbo Barbarella playing the characters of the Ghost of Christmas Past and Fred.
Hello, everybody.
Say, hey, Bimbo. There's Okie. Okie got kicked out. Hang on one second. There's Okie Grower.
Howdy,
How
y'all.
you doing, Okie? Say hey to
Pretty
everybody. I
good.
was
Hey.
just introducing you guys.
Howdy, y'all.
This is
I hope
Mr.
everybody's
Bob
having
Cratchit,
an
and
afternoon.
Belle's husband.
Oh,
And
yeah.
one of the stars of the show, Jason Cripps, Dr. Sleep. He's going to be playing the role of Scrooge and a couple of other things going on. But tonight we're going to just kind of do a little live rehearsal with the script without music. Y'all come on down and check out the show Saturday night. Saturday is the 17th of December at 7 p.m. Central. That'll be 8 p.m. Eastern and 5 o'clock Pacific. We'll have a great show that night. There'll be a lot of special things going on in the intermission. And at the end of the show, y'all stick around to the end. I got a few special things planned for you. We probably have a couple of giveaways and participate with the show with us. Now, with that all that being said, I think we're about ready to just get into. Let me get over here on this other screen here. Make sure we're good to go. Hopefully, Robin will be coming soon. Okay. And again, for you guys that don't know, this is the classic story of A Christmas Carol. It was written in, I think it was 1848 or 1846 by Charles Dickens. All righty. So I am the narrator of the story, and I have all these wonderful people that came on panel to read at Scully's House of Thrillers. And this is a little bit different than what some of you may have seen before. This is kind of like live theater, live reading theater. And it's with a little bit of a twist, kind of how I read books too. And I think we've been doing this for a couple of shows now. We had the Jaws production with Jason Cripps and Nez Lover, a few other people. It went off real well. And so I think it's a very entertaining venue for that matter, and it's also educational as well. So, you guys ready?
Yeah.
Locked and loaded,
Oh,
baby.
yeah.
Well, all right. A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. We're in the interior of the study at night. Huge gold lettering on the binding of a book. Quite unexpectedly, it reads Great Expectations. Beside it on the other shelf are other books, Oliver Twist, David Copperfield, and of course A Christmas Carol. Small hand reaches for this last and pulls it off the shelf. Sober-faced girl, maybe 10 years old, clutches the book to her bosom and intently carries it out of the room and into a cheerily lit sitting room in London, England, one Christmas Eve in the 1860s. The girl carries the book to the corner of the room where a man sits before a large picture window revealing a snow-covered street under a night sky. Handsome in his late 20s, with a pleasant voice. Obviously a favorite uncle, he's surrounded by a noisy circle of children and young adults. He is to be the narrator of the story. They are pestering him for something and he is waving them off. I don't know why you should want to hear the story again. You must have heard it a dozen times by now.
100.
1,000, but it's good for a laugh.
And it's your story as much as it is anyone's, isn't it?
Maybe it is, but I'm not sure I'm necessarily the right one to tell it.
Oh, that's not true. Grandmother says you're the only one who knows how to tell it right.
The others, particularly the younger children, murmur agreement. The 10-year-old girl presses through the little crowd with the book in her hand.
Please, we want to hear it from you.
She hands the narrator the book. He smiles at it and sets it in his lap, unopened as the 10-year-old girl sits at his feet. Slowly, some of the others begin to sit down too. Oh, now, I don't really need this.
Right here. I got to stop right here
Okay.
because it's not my page for page 2. It says couldn't preview file. I'm okay for page 3, but yeah, I just now noticed I have no page 2.
Okay. That's odd.
It is odd. It was fine last time.
All right. So, okay, we got the narrator here saying, I've been telling this story every Christmas. For now, I don't know how many years since I was a boy. And I know it by heart. It always begins the same way. Now, that's Nez, the 10-year-old girl that says, how does it begin?
Mm-hmm.
That's
does it
the
begin?
next one. Okay, good.
I can barely see it on my phone screen. Okay, yeah. How does it begin?
Okay. Old Marley was as dead as a doornail. This must be distinctly understood, or nothing wonderful can come of the story I'm going to relate. So remember, old Marley was as dead as a doornail. The register of his burial was signed by Ebenezer Scrooge, and Scrooge's name was good on the London Exchange for anything he chose to put his hand to. As he speaks, the view of the street through the window behind him blurs and resolves itself into a view of the London Exchange. It's packed with well-dressed businessmen who hurry up and down and chink the money in their pockets. Among their number is a fat man with a monstrous chin who chats with a red-faced man with a pendulous excrescence. Also present is a man with a sharp and bitter face, as bald as Patrick Stewart, give or take a hair. This is Ebenezer Scrooge. Scrooge is bundling up his coat and heading for the exit when Fat Man makes eye contact with him.
Ah, Mr. Scrooge.
Your servant, sir.
Are you off to keep Christmas?
I am not in the habit of keeping Christmas, sir.
Then why are you leaving so early?
Cut. That's Bimbo, red-faced man.
Sorry.
No problem.
Okay. So
Okay.
So then you wanted me to do that guy as well, then, right?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you. All
Okay.
right. Act with red-faced man.
Then why are you leaving so early?
Christmas has a habit of keeping men from doing business.
Red-faced man.
So are there two red-faced men? Is that the deal? There's Bimbo and me, or the same?
Yes. All right. Cut. Let's take it back to the top up there, where Okie
Some
comes
say
in.
Bimbo next. Some say Bimbo next to him. Some say it's Hojo next to him.
There's
fat
man.
You have. I have to. I've just made these corrections in the studio before we went live, so you're gonna have to follow along with the screen if you can. If not,
okay.
Is that possible?
Yeah, not a problem. I've got it on the TV. I was reading my laptop stuff.
Yeah, it's a little bit different.
Then I'm doing the pendulous exercise. Okay.
Yes. All right. Let's take it back from the top where Fat Man comes in and says, "Ah, Mr. Scrooge." All right.
One second.
Yes.
What?
So you'd rather I read off the screen than the script that you sent me via email?
Yeah, I changed all of Hojo's name to your name on I don't know if you can do that too, Jason.
Yeah,
I sure asked you all that before we started.
Give me a moment.
Man, I knew I saw Okie somewhere, and I couldn't. Yep. I've been scrolling looking for it, and it's on the TV. Okay.
I'm on the screen, so we're good.
Hey, everybody out in chat land. I didn't even say hey to y'all yet. Let's see here. Okay, back there. Oh, Robin is here. Let's get her in the show. Hey, Robin.
I'm eating dinner.
Oh, no problem. I got the script up on the screen. If you can follow along on the live stream, I've made some changes.
I
don't think it'll affect you much, but we'll get you to read Jen's parts tonight. She's not here with us, so you can fill in for her until the show next week.
Okay.
She's been having headaches.
Can you hear me better now than because I'm wearing
my
earbuds?
I can actually. I can. It does sound better.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. I'll take my picture off.
All right, Okie, you ready?
I'm ready.
Take it with Mr. Scrooge in action.
Ah, Mr. Scrooge.
Your servant, sir.
Are you off home to keep Christmas?
I am not in the habit of keeping Christmas, sir.
Then why are you leaving early?
Christmas has a habit of keeping men from doing business.
Come. It is in the nature of things that ants toil and grasshoppers sing and play, Mr. Scrooge.
An ant is what it is, and a grasshopper is what it is. And Christmas, sir, is a humbug. Good day.
The two men laugh at Scrooge as he exits the exchange. Moments later, on the massive stone steps just outside, a shivering, poorly dressed man sees Scrooge walking toward him. Scrooge pays him no heed and walks past. The man follows and clutches at Scrooge's sleeve. The two men descend the steps together.
Mr. Scrooge, sir.
Who are you?
Samuel Wilson, sir.
Ah, yes. You owe me a little matter of 20-odd pounds, I believe. Well, if you want to pay it, come to my place of business. I don't conduct my affairs in the teeth of inclement weather.
I can't pay you, sir.
I'm not surprised.
I'm waiting for Scully to scroll. Okay. Not unless you give me more time.
Did I ask you for more time to lend you the money?
No, sir.
Then why should you ask me for more time to pay it back?
I can't take my wife to a debtor's prison.
Then leave her behind. Why should she go to a debtor's prison anyway? She didn't borrow the 20 pounds. You did. What has your wife got to do with it? For that matter, what have I got to do with it? Good afternoon.
But Mr. Scrooge, it's Christmas.
Christmas has even less to do with it, my dear sir, than your wife has or I have. You'd still owe me £20 that you're not in the position to repay if it was the middle of a heat wave in August. Bank holiday. Good afternoon.
Scrooge stalks away as the stunned man stands and stares at him. We dissolve to the exterior of a London street. It's outside Scrooge's counting house. It's cold, bleak, biting weather. People in the street go wheezing up and down, beating their hands upon their breasts, stamping their feet upon the pavement stones to warm them. The city clock strikes 3, but it's quite dark already. Candles flare in the windows of the neighboring offices, like ruddy smears upon the palpable brown air. Fog comes pouring in at every chink and keyhole, and is so dense that although the street is narrow, the houses opposite are mere phantoms. The sign above the counting house door reads, Scrooge and Marley. Tall man, whom we will come to know as Scrooge's nephew, Fred, rapidly walks up to the door, opens it, and enters. Scrooge's clerk, Bob Cratchit, sits in a dismal little cell, a sort of tank, copying letters. There's a very small fire, so small that it looks like there's only one lump of coal. Fred appears all in a glow. His face ruddy and handsome, his eyes sparkle, and his breath smokes in the cold air.
A Merry Christmas, Uncle. God save you.
Person at the desk spins around, glaring at the intruder. It's Scrooge.
Bah, humbug.
Christmas? A humbug, Uncle? You don't mean that, I'm sure.
I do. Merry Christmas. What right have you to be merry? What reason have you to be merry? You're poor enough.
Come then, what right do you have to be dismal? What reason have you to be morose? You're rich enough.
Scrooge has no better answer ready.
Bah, humbug.
Oh, don't be cross, Uncle.
Fred enters the office and crosses to a Gothic window in the wall, from which is visible the ancient tower of the church.
What else can I be when I live in such a world of fools as this Merry Christmas? Out upon Merry Christmas. What's Christmas time to you but a time for paying bills without money? A time for finding yourself a year older, but not an hour richer. A time for balancing your books and having every item in them through a round dozen of months presented dead against you. If I could work my will, every idiot who goes about with Merry Christmas on his lips should be boiled in his own pudding and buried with a stake of holly through his heart. He should.
Uncle!
Nephew. Keep Christmas in your own way and let me keep it in mine.
Keep it. But you don't want to keep it.
Let me leave it alone then. Much good may it do you. Much good has it ever done you.
There are many things from which I might have derived good, by which I have not profited, I dare say, Christmas among the rest. But I am sure that I have always thought of Christmas time when it comes around. A kind, forgiving, charitable, pleasant time. The only time I know in the long calendar of the year when men and women seem to be content to open their shut-up hearts freely and to think of the people below them as if they really were fellow passengers to the grave, and neither nor the race of creatures bound on other journeys, and therefore, Uncle, though it was never put a scrap of gold or silver in my pocket, I believe that it has done me good, Uncle, and will do me good, and I say, God bless it.
Bob Cratchit, still in the tank, involuntarily applauds. Becoming immediately sensible of the impropriety, he quickly pokes the fire and extinguishes his last frail spark.
Let me hear another sound from you, and you'll keep Christmas by losing your job. You're quite a powerful speaker, sir. I wonder you don't go into Parliament.
Don't be angry, Uncle. Come, dine with me tomorrow. Will you come see us?
Oh, I'll see you all right. I'll see you in hell.
But why? Why?
Why did you get married?
Because I fell in love.
Scrooge looks at him as if falling in love was the only thing in the world more ridiculous than a Merry Christmas.
Because you fell in love. Good afternoon.
Uncle, you never came to see me before that happened. Why give it as a reason for not coming now?
Good afternoon.
I want nothing from you. I ask nothing of you. Why can't we be friends?
Good afternoon.
I am sorry with all my heart to find you so resolute. But we have never had any quarrel to which I've been a party. But I've made the trial in homage to Christmas, and I'll keep my Christmas humor to the last. So, to you, a Merry Christmas, Uncle.
Good afternoon.
And a Happy New Year.
Good afternoon.
Fred leaves the room with a wry grin. On his way out, he exchanges greetings with Bob Cratchit.
How is Mr. Cratchit and all the small assorted Cratchites?
Very good, sir.
All chomping at the bit, waiting for Christmas to begin, huh?
Oh, yes, sir. All very eager.
And the lame little boy. Which one is he? Tim?
Tim, sir.
That's right. How is he?
We're in high hopes he's getting better, sir.
Good, good. A Merry Christmas to you.
Same to you, sir, I'm sure.
Yes, thank you.
Bob Cratchit watches Fred exit, then glances at Scrooge's office, surprised to find Scrooge glaring at him.
And you, 15 shillings a week and a wife and family, talking about a Merry Christmas. I'll retire to Bedlam.
Bob Cratchit watches Scrooge shake his head and return to his desk. Not long after, two portly gentlemen, pleasant to behold, stand with their hats off. They're at Scrooge's office. They hold books and papers in their hands and bow to him. First gentleman glances at a list.
Scrooge and Marley's, I believe. Have I the pleasure of addressing Mr. Scrooge or Mr. Marley?
Mr. Marley has been dead these 7 years. He died 7 years ago, this very night.
We dissolve to Scrooge glancing at the church tower, nearly invisible in the fog, as the clock strikes the hour. Time to shut up the counting house. With an ill will, Scrooge dismounts from his stool and nods to Bob Cratchit, who instantly snuffs his candle out and puts on his hat.
You want all day tomorrow, I suppose.
It's quite convenient, sir.
It's not convenient, and it's not fair. If I was to stop 1/2 crown for it, you'd think yourself ill-used. I'll be bound.
Bob Cratchit smiles faintly.
And yet, you don't think me ill-used when I pay a day's wages for no work.
It's only once a year, Mr. Scrooge.
Poor excuse for picking a man's pocket. Every 25th of December.
Scrooge buttons his coat to his chin.
But I suppose you must have the whole day. Be here all the earlier next morning.
I will, I promise.
Scrooge walks out into the street with a growl. Bob Cratchit closes the office in a twinkling. We fade to the exterior of Scrooge's building. It's dark and threatening. Nobody lives in it but Scrooge. The other rooms are all let out as offices. The yard is so dark that Scrooge gropes with his hands through the fog, frost to the black old doorway of the house on which is a fairly large knocker. He puts his key in the lock and glances at the knocker. Without its undergone any excuse me. Check. Without its undergoing any intermediate process of change, the knocker is no longer a knocker, but Marley's face. Scrooge gasps.
Marley?
Marley's face. Not an impenetrable shadow and other objects in the yard, but with a dismal light about it, like a bad lobster in a dark cellar. Not angry or ferocious. Face looks at Scrooge as Marley used to look, with ghostly spectacles turned up upon its ghostly forehead. As Scrooge lets go of the key and stares fixedly at this phenomenon, it becomes a knocker again. He pauses to look cautiously behind the door, as if he half expects to see Marley's pigtail. There's nothing on the back of the door except the screws and nuts that hold the knocker on. Scrooge closes the door with a bang. A suspicious, slightly unnerved Scrooge walking through his gloomy suite of rooms. Bedroom as usual. Nobody under the bed. Nobody in the closet. Suddenly he sees a ghostly white shape in the darkness on the opposite side of the room. Scrooge tenses up for a moment until he realizes it's only his dressing gown. Quite satisfied, he closes the door. Double locks himself in, not his custom. Having changed clothes, Scrooge sits down before the fire to take his gruel. It's a very low fire, and Scrooge sits close to it. Flash cut of every tile adorned with Marley's face. It is on the door knocker. Scrooge blinks, sees that the tiles have returned to normal. Scrooge rises and paces the room, feeling unsettled. After several turns and more than a few nervous glances at the fireplace, he sits down again. The sound of the downstairs door flying open with a booming sound, and then the clanking much louder. Floors below. Coming up the stairs and coming straight toward his door, Scrooge starts talking to himself.
It's a humbug still. I won't believe it.
The color leaves his face. Though without a pause, the source of the noise comes on through the heavy door, passes into the room before his very eyes. Upon its coming in, the dying flame leaps up in the fireplace and falls again. Same face, the very face. Jacob Marley's ghost and his pigtail. The usual waistcoat tights and boots, the tassels on the latter bristling like his pigtail, and his coat skirts in the air upon his head. A wrapper, a folded kerchief is bound about Marley's head and chin. A long chain is clasped about the middle, wound about him like a tail, made of cash boxes, keys, padlocks, ledgers, deeds, and heavy purses wrought in steel. Marley's body is transparent, so that Scrooge, observing him closely, can look through his waistcoat and see the two buttons on his coat behind. Scrooge feels the need to crack a joke to keep it down his terror.
I'd often heard it said that you had no heart, Marley, but I never believed it until now.
Oh, sorry, Marley?
Scrooge stares into the ghost. It's you, Scully.
Oh, my bad. Scrooge stares into the ghost's death-cold eyes and reverts its cold and caustic self.
How now? What do you want with me?
Much.
Who are you?
Ask me who I was.
Who were you then?
In life, I was your partner, Jacob Marley.
Can you sit down?
I can.
Do it then.
Can you sit down?
I can.
Do it then.
Cut.
We're getting echo.
Who's reverbing? Let me see if we can straighten that out. Cut.
We're getting echo.
That was me, sorry. That was me, sorry.
You, Bimbo?
Yeah. I went on to our YouTube to say hello to everybody, and the mute went off.
Oh, okay. All right, let's take it back from.
Yeah, so go ahead.
Back where we were. All right, take it from. How now? What do you want with me?
How now? What do you want with me?
Much.
Who are you?
Ask me who I was.
Who were you then?
In life, I was your partner, Jacob Marley.
Can you sit down?
I can.
Do it then.
Marley sits down on the opposite side of the fireplace, if he were quite used to it. Scrooge stares at the ghost's fixed, glazed eyes of it as it sits motionless through his hair. Skirts and tassels still quiver as if by the hot vapor from an oven.
You don't believe in me?
I don't.
I'm waiting for Scully to scroll.
So there must be a little bit of a delay there, sorry.
Yeah. What evidence would you have of my reality beyond that of your senses?
I don't know.
Why do you doubt your senses?
Because a little thing affects them. A slight disorder of the stomach makes them cheat. You may be an undigested bit of beef, a blot of mustard, a crumb of cheese, a fragment of an underdone potato. There's more of gravy than of grave about you, whatever you are. You see this toothpick?
I do.
You're not looking at it.
But I see it nonetheless.
Well, I have but to swallow this and be for the rest of my days persecuted by a legion of goblins, all of my own creation. Humbug, I tell you, humbug.
No!
Mercy, dreadful apparition, why do you trouble me?
Man of the worldly mind. Do you believe in me or not?
I do. I must. But why do spirits walk the earth, and why do they come to me?
It is required of every man that the spirit within him should walk abroad among his fellow men, and travel far and wide. And if the spirit goes not forth in life, it is condemned to do so after death. It is doomed to wander through the world. Oh, woe is me! And witness what it cannot share, but might have shared on earth and turned to happiness. Oh!
You are fettered. Tell me why.
I wear the chain I forged in life. I made it link by link and yard by yard. I girded it of my own free will, and of my own free will I wore it. Is its pattern strange to you? Or would you know the weight and length of the strong coil you bear yourself? It was full and heavy as this, and as long as this 7 Christmas Eves ago. You've labored on it since. It is a ponderous chain.
Scrooge glances about him on the floor in the expectation of finding himself surrounded by some 50 or 60 fathoms of iron cable, but he sees nothing.
Jacob, oh Jacob Marley, tell me more. Speak comfort to me, Jacob.
I have none to give. It comes from other regions, Ebenezer Scrooge, and it is conveyed by other ministers to other kinds of men. Nor can I tell you what I would. A very little more is all permitted to me. I cannot rest. I cannot stay. I cannot linger anywhere. My spirit never walked beyond our counting house. Mark me! In life, my spirit never roved beyond the narrow limits of our money-changing hole, and weary journeys lie before me.
You must have been very slow about it. Jacob?
Slow!
7 years dead and traveling all around the time and traveling all the time?
The whole time. No rest, no peace, incessant torture of remorse.
You travel fast?
On the wings of the wind.
You might have got over a great quantity of ground in 7 years.
Oh, captive, bound, and double ironed, not to know that ages of incessant labor by immortal creatures for this earth must pass into eternity before the good of which it is susceptible by all develop. Not to know that any Christian spirit working kindly in its little sphere, whatever it may be, will find its mortal life too short for its vast means of usefulness. Not to know that no space of regret can make amends for one's life's opportunities misused. Yet such was I. Oh, such was I.
But you were always a good man of business, Jacob.
Business! Mankind was my business. The common welfare was my business. Charity, mercy, forbearance, and benevolence were all my business. The dealings of my trade were but a drop of water in the comprehensive ocean of my business. At this time of the year, I suffer most. Keep going, Scully.
Sorry, it was catching up.
Why did I walk through crowds of fellow beings with my eyes turned down and never raise them to that blessed star which led the wise men to a poor abode? Were there no poor homes to which its light would have conducted me?
Scrooge shivers.
Hear me, my time is nearly gone.
I will, but don't be hard upon me. Don't be flowery, Jacob.
How is it that I appear before you in a shape that you can see I may not tell? I've sat invisible beside you many and many a day.
Scrooge shivers at this and wipes the perspiration from his brow.
That is no light part of my penance. I'm here tonight to warn you that you have yet a chance and hope of escaping my fate. A chance and hope of my procuring Ebenezer.
You were always a good friend to me. Thank ye.
You will be haunted by 3 spirits.
Scrooge's jaw drops almost as low as Marley's had done.
Is that the chance and hope you mentioned, Jacob?
It is.
I think I'd rather not.
Without their visits, you cannot hope to shun the path I tread. Expect the first tomorrow when the bell tolls 1.
Couldn't I take them all at once and have it over, Jacob?
Expect the second on the night at the same hour, the third upon the next, when the last stroke of 12 has ceased to vibrate. Look to see me no more, and look that for your own sake you remember what has passed between us.
Marley floats out the window into the bleak dark night. Scrooge follows to the window, desperate in his curiosity. He looks out. Foggy air is filled with phantoms, wandering hither and thither in the restless haze, and moaning as they go. Every one of them wears chains like Marley's. Many have been personally known to Scrooge in their lives. Scrooge closes the window. You all right, Nez?
I'm fine. Sorry, I thought I hit the cough button.
Cut. That's funny.
I take a bong rip and the whole world knows it. That's right.
Man, yeah. I thought I heard gurgling.
That's why we have rehearsal.
Everybody take a bong rip right now. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's what Jason said. That's why we have rehearsals. No, during the live show, everybody just be conscious of like if you muting, but also be conscious of unmuting. Right, Jason?
Yes, that's right. I missed the whole song because
I know. I was looking so forward to hearing you sing too.
I was doing well. I was nailing it. I was nailing it, man.
He said, "I'm sounding good in these headphones, man. Like nobody can hear him."
Lesson learned.
Yeah. All right. Let's see here. Scrooge closes the window and examines the door by which the ghost had entered. It's still double locked. He crosses to his bed. Without undressing, he gets in, falls asleep instantly. The light from the fire in the sitting room is visible under the closed bedroom door as we dissolve to the interior of Scrooge's bedroom. Scrooge awakens in darkness sometime later. The fire's gone out. As the chimes of a neighboring church strike 12, Scrooge counts with his fingers.
12. It was past 2 when I went to bed. Clock must be wrong. Icicle must have got into the works.
He lights a candle and sits on the edge of the bed, looking at the bedside alarm clock. It reads 12.
12? Why, it isn't possible. I can't have slept through a whole day and far into the night.
He picks up the clock and checks it, then seems to remember something. Now, of course, the ghost had warned Mr. Scrooge that a spirit would visit him when the bell tolled 1. Scrooge appears to make a decision of some kind, begins to fiddle with his clock. So he resolved to lie awake until the hour was past, and considering that he could no more go to sleep and go to heaven, this was perhaps the wisest decision he could make. Naturally, he didn't want to be caught dozing off, so he made sure to set the alarm go off precisely at 1. About an hour later. Nothing.
Bah!
He sighs and blows out the candle. Church bell sounds with a deep, dull, hollow, melancholy 1. Scrooge's eyes pop open and a wave of dread passes over his face. Wicked bright light flashing up in the room, and the curtains of Scrooge's bed are instantly drawn aside. Scrooge, starting up into a half-recumbent attitude, finds himself face to face with the unearthly visitor who drew them. It's a weird, impressive figure, like a child, yet not so like a child as like an old man viewed through some supernatural medium. Its belt sparkles and glitters now in one part and now in another, and it's continuously morphing. What is light one instant, at another time it's dark. So the figure itself fluctuates in its distinctness, being now a thing with one arm, now with one leg, now with 20 legs. Now a pair of legs without a head, now a head without a body. No outline was visible in the dense gloom wherein they melt away and then reform, distinct and clear as ever.
Are you the spirit, sir, whose coming was foretold to me?
I am.
Who and what are you?
I am the ghost of Christmas past.
Long past?
Oh, Scrooge winces and blinks at the light coming from the ghost's crown.
I wonder if you might, sir, put a hat on?
What? You would so put out, with worldly hands the light I give? It is not enough that you are one of those who passion made this gap, and forced me through whole trains of years to wear it low upon me brow?
I didn't mean to offend. What business brings you here?
Your welfare.
Well, I'm much obliged, but I wonder if a good night's sleep wouldn't be more conducive to that end.
Your reclamation, then. Take heed.
The ghost puts out a strong hand as it speaks and clasps him gently by the arm.
Rise and walk with me.
Scrooge rises, but finding that the ghost leads him toward the window, he gasps robe in supplication.
It's the middle of the night.
Ghost of Christmas Past, where we at?
Bear but a touch of my hand there.
The ghost points to its heart.
And ye should be upheld in more than this.
Scrooge touches the ghost's heart and they pass through the wall. Scrooge and the ghost stand on an open, sunlit country road with fields on either hand. It's a clear, cold winter day, with with snow upon the ground. Scrooge looks about and clasps his hands together.
Good heaven, I was bred in this place. I was a boy here.
The ghost gazes upon him mildly.
Your lip is trembling. And what is that on your cheek?
I beg you, spirit, lead me where you would.
You recollect the way?
Remember it? I could walk it blindfold.
Strange to have forgotten it for so many years. Let us go on.
They walk along the road, Scrooge pointing out every gate and post and tree. A little market town appears in the distance. Boys call other boys in country gigs and carts driven by farmers. They're trotting down towards Scrooge and the ghost, and they're all in great spirits and shout to each other.
These are but shadows of the things that have been. They have no consciousness of us.
The jocund travelers approach. And they pass by. Scrooge's cold eye glistens. He hears them wish each other Merry Christmas as they part at crossroads and byways for several homes.
The school is not quite deserted. A solitary child, neglected by his friends, is left there still.
I know it.
We dissolve to the interior of the schoolroom. This long, bare, melancholy room made bare still by lines of plain deal forms and desks. At one of these, a lonely boy reads near a feeble fire. Scrooge sits down upon a form and weeps to see his poor forgotten self as he used to be. The ghost joins him.
Poor boy.
Scrooge dries his eyes with his cuff, then mutters, puts his hand in his pocket, and looks about him.
I wish, but it's too late now.
What is the matter?
Nothing. There was a boy singing a Christmas carol at my window last night. I should like to have given him something, that's all.
The ghost smiles thoughtfully and waves his hand.
Then let us see another Christmas.
Scrooge's younger self suddenly morphs into an older boy, and the room becomes a little darker and more dirty. His former self is still alone. All the other boys have gone home again for the holidays. Young Scrooge is not reading now, but walking up and down despairingly. Scrooge looks at the ghost and, with a mournful shaking of his head, glances anxiously toward the door. It opens, and a little girl, much younger than the boy, stands at the threshold looking in. It's Scrooge's sister, Fan. The elder Scrooge is amazed to see her.
Fan. Oh, wait, that's not me.
Let's see if Robin's there.
Sorry, my fault.
You ready, Robin?
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you sound good.
Okay.
Loud and clear.
Okay, take it where he says Fan and you say Ebenezer. Action.
Ebenezer.
Fan steps toward him, arms outstretched as to give him a hug. He responds. But as she darts forward, her body passes through his, for she is but a shadow, and puts her arms about the neck of the younger Scrooge. Though disappointed, the elder Scrooge turns to watch the youngsters embrace.
Dear brother, I have come to bring you home, dear brother.
She claps her tiny hands and bends down to laugh.
To bring you home, home, home.
Home, little fan?
Yes, home for good and all, home forever and ever. Father is so much kinder than he used to be. That's home's like heaven.
For you, perhaps, but not for me. He doesn't know me or even what I look like, same as I hardly know you, now that you're quite a woman.
He spoke so gently to me one dear night when I was going to bed that I was not afraid to ask him once more if you might come home. And he said, yes, you should, and sent me in a coach to bring you. And you're to be a man and are never to come back here. But first, we're to be together all the Christmas long and have the merriest time in all the world.
You're quite a woman, little fan.
She claps her hands and laughs and tries to touch his head, but being too little, laughs again. Stands on her tiptoes to embrace him. Then she begins to drag him in her childish eagerness towards the door, and he, nothing loth to go, accompanies her. Young Scrooge's trunk is tied on top of the coach. Not long after, young Scrooge and Fan bid an old schoolmaster goodbye, get in, and drive gaily down the country road. Scrooge and the ghost watch the coach go by, its two passengers laughing and talking.
Always a delicate creature, whom a breath might have withered, but she has a large heart.
So she had.
She died a woman, and I have, as I think, children.
One child.
True, your nephew.
Scrooge seems uneasy in his mind.
Yes.
The ghost cat casually peers over Scrooge's shoulder, and when Scrooge turns around, he's startled to see the exterior of a warehouse at night.
Know it?
Know it? I apprenticed here.
The ghost, using a half-dozen arms that fade in and out of view, gestures after you, and Scrooge enters. At the sight of an old gentleman in a Welsh wig, Scrooge lets out a gasp and turns to the ghost behind him.
Why, it's old Fezziwig, bless his heart. It's Fezziwig alive again.
Old Fezziwig lays down his pen, looks up at the clock, which points to the hour of 7. He rubs his hands, adjusts his capacious waistcoat, laughs, and calls out in a comfortable, oily, rich, fat, jovial voice.
Yo ho there, Ebenezer! Dick!
Immediately, Ebenezer, Scrooge's younger self, now a grown man, comes briskly in, accompanied by his fellow apprentice, Dick.
Dick Wilkins, to be sure. Bless me. Yes, there he is. He was very much attached to me, was Dick. Poor Dick. Dear, dear.
Yo ho, my boys! No more work tonight. Christmas Eve, Dick. Christmas, Ebenezer. Let's have the shutters up before a man can say Jack Robinson.
Dick and Ebenezer charge into the street with the shutters. 1, 2, 3. Have them up in their places. 4, 5, 6. Bar 'em and pin 'em. 7, 8, 9, and come back before the count of 12. Panting like racehorses. Fezziwig skips down from the high desk with wonderful agility.
Hi-le-ho! Clear away, my lads, and let's have lots of room here. Hi-le-ho, Dick. Cheer up, Ebenezer.
Throughout, Scrooge and the ghost watch, or rather, the ghost watches, and Scrooge lives and relives every moment. Dancing, eating cakes, and a great piece of cold roast, great piece of cold boiled mince pies, and plenty of beer. Old Fezziwig dances with Mrs. Fezziwig, an impressive display. Young Ebenezer, too, dances up a storm as his elder self looks on in amazement. Scrooge remembers the ghost, becomes conscious that it's looking full upon him, while the light upon its head burns very clear.
A small matter to make these silly folks so full of gratitude.
Small?
The spirit signs to him to listen to the two apprentices. We overhear a snatch of the conversation as they tidy the room.
What a sweet old man is Mr. Fezziwig.
The sweetest. Did you see him dancing with the missus? And the look on his face.
Oh, yes.
He was in heaven and fully deserved to be.
And where the devil did he find that fiddler?
Oh, wasn't he marvelous? Nothing too good for Fezziwig. I'd say this year's party was finer than the last, if such a thing is possible.
We dissolve to the exterior of a lake. Belle in silhouette with her back to Ebenezer faces the glassy water. We can see that she's deep in thought. He reaches out to touch her, but she brushes him off.
It matters little to you, very little. Another idol I was displaced has displaced me, and if it can cheer and comfort you in time to come, as I would have tried to do, I have no just cause to grieve.
What idol has displaced you?
A golden one.
This is the even-handed dealing of the world. There's nothing on which it is so hard as poverty, and there's nothing it professes to condemn with such severity as the pursuit of wealth.
You fear the world too much. All your other hopes have merged into the hope of being beyond the chance of its sordid reproach. I have seen your noble aspirations fall off one by one until the master passion, gain, engrosses you. Have I not?
What then? Even if I have grown so much wiser, what then? I am not changed toward you.
Belle shakes her head.
Am I?
Our engagement is an old one. It was made when we were both poor and content to be so, until in good season we could improve our worldly fortune by our patient industry. You are changed. When it was made, you were another man.
I was a boy. 'Tis true. I am not now what I was then.
I am that which promised happiness when we were one in heart is fraught with misery now. We are two. How often and how keenly I have thought of this, I will not say. It is enough that I have thought of it and can release you from our engagement.
Have I ever sought release?
In words? No, never.
In what then?
In a changed nature, in an altered spirit, in another atmosphere of life, another hope of its great end, in everything that made my love of any worth or value in your sight. If this had never been between us, tell me, would you seek me out and try to win me now? No.
He seems to yield to the justice of this supposition in spite of himself.
You think not.
I would gladly think otherwise if I could. Heaven knows. When I have learned a truth like this, I know how strong and irresistible it must be. But if you were free today, tomorrow, yesterday, can even I believe that you would choose a dowerless girl? You who, in your very confidence with her, weigh everything by gain, or choosing her, and for a moment you were false enough to your one guiding principle to do so. Do I not know that your repentance and regret would surely follow? I do. And I release you from our engagement with a full heart for the love of him you once were.
Pause. He's about to speak, but with her head turned from him, she resumes.
Can you scroll a little more?
Oh, sorry.
Thank you. You may, the memory of what has passed half makes me hope you will have pain in this. Makes me hope you will have pain in this. A very, very brief time, and you will dismiss the recollection of it gladly as an unprofitable dream from which it happened well that you awoke. May you be happy in the life you have chosen.
She rises and leaves him.
Spirit, show me no more. Conduct me home. Why do you delight to torture me?
One shadow more.
No more, no more. I don't wish to see it. Show me no more.
But the relentless ghost pinions his arms and turns him round to observe the interior of Belle's sitting room at night. A room not very large or handsome, but full of comfort and Christmas decorations. All is quiet. Falling snow is visible out the windows. Near the fireplace sits a beautiful young girl, nearly identical to Belle. Belle herself. Scrooge gazes upon them in awe. I suspect it must have been staggering Mr. Scrooge to see these women, especially the younger one, because he had played his cards differently. A woman such as she might well have called him father and been like a springtime for him in the haggard winter of his life. Of course, he might well have had more than one child. Nearly a dozen children explode into the room, making a tumultuous noise, but no one seems to care. On the contrary, the mother and daughter laugh heartily and enjoy it very much, and the latter mingles with them and gets clobbered ruthlessly. They stream around a startled Scrooge, running, jumping, and playing with enormous energy. Oh, what would I have not given to be one of those children? Though I never could have been so rude. No, no. I wouldn't for the wealth of all the world have behaved so wildly. God bless my soul. The children greet their father, who comes home laden with gifts. Christmas toys, shouting and struggling, the kids swarm their father, Belle's husband. They shout with wonder and delight at each package they receive. Belle has risen from her chair to watch the proceedings and happens to stand next to Scrooge, who watches her and her family closely, no doubt pondering what might have been. Okay.
Belle, I saw an old friend of yours this afternoon.
Who was it?
Yes.
How can I? Don't I know Ebenezer Scrooge?
Scrooge it was. I passed his office window, and as it was not shut up and he had a candle inside, I could scarcely help seeing him. His partner lies upon the point of death, I hear, and there he sat alone, quite alone in the world, I do believe.
Scrooge, sitting beside the ghost on the far side of the room, shuts his eyes and shakes his head.
Spirit, remove me from this place.
I told you, these were shadows of things past that have been, that they are what they are. Do not blame me.
Remove me. I cannot bear it.
Scrooge turns upon the ghost and sees that it looks at him with an oddly morphing face, in which there momentarily appear fragments of all the faces it has shown him. His younger selves, Fan, the Fezziwigs, Dick Wilkins, Bell, etc. Terrified, Scrooge physically attacks the ghost.
Leave me. Take me back. Haunt me no longer.
Fade to the interior of Scrooge's bedroom. The room is dark. No light shines under the bedroom door from the sitting room. Scrooge, in roughly the same position as we last saw him, lies in his bed atop his pillow. Now, Marley's ghost had warned Scrooge that a second spirit would haunt him at the stroke of one. I don't mind telling you that Scrooge was now prepared for a good broad field of strange appearances, and that nothing between a baby and a rhinoceros would have astonished him very much. By this time, he was ready for almost anything. All right, cut. This is where we have our intermission. Most everybody knows that by now. So if you guys want to take just a couple of minutes and take a little breather.
Okay. See you in a minute.
Yeah. Y'all, if you want to hang out and talk for a minute, that's fine. I'm just gonna step off for a sec there.
All right.
I love it. It's flowing very well. Thanks again, everybody, for coming. And I do mean everybody. Your positive energy helps us do this, and I thank you.
Yeah,
I
I
just
mean,
want
it
to give a
does sound
special.
like it's flowing good.
It really is. I'm feeling real good about this. Everybody's sounding fantastic.
And they've even got Misfit the cat laying in front of the computer listening. So
I've got Stella and Mario Kitty listening as well.
Great job.
yeah,
man.
but I don't know whether Misfit's listening or sleeping. Or maybe Misfit, was hitting on, Stoney's stash there. Who knows?
I can't believe I thought I muted my mic when I took my bong rip, but boy was I wrong. Okay, I'll be sure not to do that during performance. Holy cow.
I thought I heard gargling. I wasn't sure though.
Yeah, can you
I
guys
thought
hear
I heard a
it?
little gargling.
I didn't hear the bubbling, but
No, we can't
No,
hear
yeah.
it.
You can
I
hear
hear
that?
Okay, now we can.
There you go.
that I could hear.
Yeah.
Man, I want to give a special shout out to Richard and Debbie. That's the RD Organic Growing Show. They're awesome farmers from Cali, California. And man, thanks for showing up and supporting Scully. I love you guys. I hope you guys are staying safe and staying blessed beyond the stress.
Cool. Well, thank you. That was very nice.
Nice to meet you, RD.
Yeah, because I know that I'm doing a show tomorrow. Just, because every once in a while I just go on and just talk about nothing or just make stuff up. And then Friday I've got my Christmas music show, and I'll probably mention this like 3 or 4 times, and I'll put the link in the chat a couple of times. So yeah, and like everybody who's a creator who's doing a stream before that, maybe just put it in your side chat a couple of times.
Please feel free, if you're in blue, to share your links. I know Scully likes you guys to get to know each other. And if you would like to share this out on your social media, that would be much appreciated. And if it hasn't already been taken care of, please somebody put Scully's Cash App link in case you want to support his fine channel. Please put that in the chat, please, and thank you.
Nez, okay, yeah, because Benny Loco's been doing that.
I thought so,
Thank you,
but
Benny.
I just wanted to be
Love you,
sure.
Benny.
Thank you so much.
And also my
Benny's
friend
on
Mark
top of it.
Kafka, he's in my music program. He has a little show. So yeah, so let me drop his link, because he does something called Pirate Radio, where like he takes requests and stuff, and he's actually a very, very good organist. He's a professional, and he actually plays in bands and stuff. So yeah, so let me drop his link.
Pretty cool.
Hey, Johnny Small Pepper, if you guys
Johnny
want to
Small
make
Pepper.
some friends who are very supportive to help grow your channel, please go see
Y'all don't
Johnny
be-
Small Pepper.
Don't be slow to grow.
I see Pammy Clyde in there too.
Hi, Pammy. I love you, Pammy.
Okay.
Hey, Okie Grower.
Crips, man, you're crushing it tonight. I had no idea you kind of threw me off when I finally got into a scene with you. I was like, damn, you got this accent thing down pretty good.
Oh, well, thank
Like
you.
you convinced me, man.
Well, thank you. I played Scrooge in my senior year in high school on stage in my high school. It's been a long
can see
time.
that. I can definitely see it.
It's been a long time. Of course, I didn't have this voice back then.
I was going to ask, did you have
Yeah,
that voice?
you
back
got
then?
you've got the grovel, the it's really it's beautiful. It's really beautiful.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I love it.
All
Everybody's
right, let's see where we're at here.
doing a wonderful job. Johnny, is that also you with another channel, or is that somebody else?
Is that Johnny
see there's a
Small Pepper out there?
Johnny Small Pepper is here, but there's a
I
Johnny
haven't been
Large
able to
Pepper. I
say
just
hey
want
to
to know, is that the
anybody.
same one? Is that also the same Johnny?
There's Johnny Large Pepper and
Yeah, that's what I
Johnny
wanna know.
Small Pepper.
Oh, that's your back.
Just chilling.
Johnny Large, Johnny Small.
They got a new one too, Johnny Large Pepper now. Y'all hit his other channel too, Johnny Large Pepper.
Johnny Large Pepper. Let's put his link right here in the chat. Give me just.
Opened a channel today or yesterday.
That's awesome. Well, I thought I better check, because you know how sometimes it's not always who we think it is.
It's not all about the size of the Johnny Pepper, y'all.
It's the heat. It's all about the heat, right?
That's right.
All right.
Also, too, another one of my musician friends is Chris Bliss. If you guys have seen him, he's really good. I don't know, Scully, you don't mind me dropping all these people a link, do you?
Oh, by all means.
Okay. Okay, no, but you guys have seen Chris before.
Hey, Mark. Addy Pickle. It's Addy Skull.
There's about 21 people in here.
Vegas Paranormal.
37 thumbs up.
On there.
Let's go. Share this out, you guys. We're halfway there.
Ready.
Okay,
right.
so do we feel
coming back from
like turning
intermission
up there, Mr. Scully?
Yeah, everybody set.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I got to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. So.
All right.
Ready, set.
Action. But
Just
you see, he was
stay
not
on
by
top
any
of the
means ready
rolling.
for nothing. And nothing is exactly what happens. After a lengthy pause, Scrooge checks his clock and sighs, and with a last look around, blows out the candle, lies down on the bed. Suddenly, he bolts straight up, staring at his bedroom door. Light is again streaming in from the sitting room. Scrooge gets up softly and shuffles in his slippers to the door. His hand is on the lock when a voice from the sitting room calls out.
Scrooge, Come in, Scrooge.
A trembling Scrooge opens the door and enters. It's his own room, but it's undergone a transformation. The walls and ceiling are so hung with living green that it looks like a perfect grove, from every part of which bright gleaming berries glisten, crisp leaves of holly, mistletoe, and ivy reflect back the light like so many little mirrors. Skip through a little bit of that. Who carries a glowing torch in shape not unlike Plenty's horn and holds it up, high up, shed its light on the Scrooge as he comes peeping around the door.
Come in! Come in and know me better, man.
Scrooge enters timidly. The spirit's eyes are clear and kind, but Scrooge does not look at them.
I am the ghost of Christmas present. Look upon me.
The ghost wears a simple green robe bordered with white fur. And on its head it wears no other covering than a holly wreath set here and there with shining icicles. Its dark brown curls are long and free as its genial face, its sparkling eye, its open hand, its cheery voice, its unconstrained demeanor, and its joyful air. Girded around its middle is an antique scabbard with no sword in it, and the ancient sheath is eaten up with rust.
You have never seen the likes of me before.
Never.
Have never walked forth with my elder brothers born in these latter years?
I don't think I have. I'm afraid I have not. Have you had many brothers, Spirit?
Approximately 1842.
Oh, tremendous family to provide for.
The ghost of Christmas present smiles and rises.
Spirit, conduct me where you will.
Keep scrolling. Okay. Keep scrolling. Touch my robe.
Scrooge does as he's told and holds it fast. Holly, mistletoe, red berries, ivy, turkeys, geese, game, poultry, brawn, meat, pigs, sausages, oysters, pies, pudding, fruit, and punch all vanish instantly. So does the room, the fire, the ruddy glow, the hour of the night. Scrooge and the spirit wander the city streets on Christmas morning, where the severe weather causes the people to make a rough but brisk and not unpleasant kind of music, and scraping the snow from the pavement in front of their dwellings and from the tops of their houses. Scrooge and the spirit see that the corner poulterer's shop is still open, and in its window hang two prize turkeys. One is the size of a boy, the other a little small. Happy crowds pour forth into the streets on their way to church, dressed in their Sunday best. On the threshold of the door, Scrooge watches as the spirit smiles and stops to bless Bob Cratchit's four-room house with an unspoken prayer. Mrs. Cratchit, Bob Cratchit's wife, dressed out but poorly in a twice-turned gown, but brave in ribbons, which are cheap and make a goodly show for 6 pence. Two smaller Cratchits, boy and girl, come tearing in, screaming something incomprehensible. The eldest, Peter Cratchit, blows the fire until the slow potatoes bubbling up knock loudly at the saucepan lid. I'm getting Robin to fill in for Jen right now.
What has ever got your precious father then? And your brother, Tiny Tim, and Martha weren't as late last Christmas Day by half an hour.
As if on cue, Martha, the eldest daughter, enters.
Here's Martha, mother.
It's
Here's Martha.
Martha, Mother.
Hooray!
Here's
Ghost,
Martha. Look.
Martha.
Why, bless your heart alive, my dear. Scroll, scroll, scroll. Scully, can you scroll?
Sorry about that.
Why, bless your heart alive, my dear. How late you are.
We'd a deal of work to finish up last night, and we had to clear away this morning, Mother.
Well, never mind, so long as you are done. Sit you down before the fire, my dear,
Come on, buddy.
and have a warm Lord bless ye.
No. There's Father coming. Hide, Martha, hide.
Hide. So Martha hides herself into Scrooge's surprise, for until now he hadn't a clue as to whose house this was. In comes little Bob Cratchit, little father. Tiny Tim upon his shoulders. He sets Tim down gently, a loss for Tiny Tim. He bears a little crutch and has his limbs supported by an iron frame. He limps badly, favoring his right leg. Bob looks around.
Why, where's our Martha?
Not coming.
Not coming? Not coming up on Christmas Day?
Scroll.
Martha doesn't like to see him disappointed. I'm sorry, I got lost. Where we at?
You got it, Martha.
Right
Can
there.
you scroll some more?
Yeah. Okay. Martha doesn't like to see him disappointed, even if it were only in joke. So she comes out prematurely from behind the closet door and runs into his arms while the two young Cratchits help Tiny Tim to the wash house, that he might hear the pudding singing in the copper.
And how did little Tim behave in church?
As good as gold, and better. Somehow he gets thoughtful, sitting by himself so much, and he thinks the strangest things you've ever heard. He told me, coming home, that he hoped that people in church saw him, because he was a cripple, and it might be pleasant to them to remember upon Christmas Day who made lame beggars walk and blind men see. He's growing stronger and healthier every day, isn't he?
The look that crosses Mrs. Cratchit's face is not encouraging.
Yes, dear. Yes, dear, he is.
With his acute little crutch, Tiny Tim returns, escorted by his brother and his sister to the stool before the fire.
The goose is cooked.
Here's the cook.
Bob Cratchit turns up his cups and compounds some hot mixture in a jug with gin and lemons. Stirs it round and round and puts it on the hob to simmer. Peter and the two ubiquitous young Cratchits fetch the goose and carry it to the table.
Not much of a goose.
Bless us, O Lord, and these thy gifts, which we are about to receive from thy bounty through Christ our Lord. Amen.
I don't believe there was ever such a goose cooked so tender.
And delicious. And big.
Scully, scroll.
Sorry.
And cheap.
It's lovely, Mother. This is a goose we shall remember for as long as we live.
Thank you, Tim.
After a dissolve, Miss Belinda changes the plates. Mrs. Cratchit is visibly nervous.
I can't stand to look at the pudding. Suppose it should not be done enough.
Oh, a wonderful pudding.
Bob Cratchit holds up a glass to propose a toast.
A Merry Christmas to us all, my dears. God bless us.
Which all the family re-echoes.
God bless us, everyone.
Everyone.
The family drinks and gets to work on the pudding. Tim sits very close to his father's side upon his little stool. Bob holds Tim's withered little hand in his as if he wished to keep him by his side and dreaded that he might be taken from him. Scrooge watches them with fascination. It's a side of the Cratchits he's never thought of. Without taking his eyes off them, he nods to the spirit.
Spirit, tell me if Tiny Tim will live.
Waiting for you to scroll. Keep going. I see a vacant seat in the poor chimney corner, and a crutch without an owner, carefully preserved. If these shadows remain unaltered by the future, the child will die.
No, oh no, kind spirit. Say he will be spared.
If these shadows remain unaltered by the future, none other of my race will find him here. What then? If he be like to die, he'd better do it, and decrease the surplus population.
Overcome with penitence and grief, Scrooge hangs his head to hear his own words quoted.
Man, if you be man in heart, not adamant, forbear that wicked cant until you have discovered what the surplus is and where it is. Will you decide what men shall live, what men shall die? It may be that in the sight of heaven, you are more worthless and less fit to live than millions like this poor man's child. Oh, God, to hear the insect on the leaf pronouncing on the too much life among his hungry brothers in the dust.
Scrooge bends before the spirit's rebuke and trembling casts his eyes upon the ground.
Mr. Scrooge!
Scrooge looks up, startled to hear someone call his name. Bob Cratchit holds a glass to him, making a toast.
I'll give you Mr. Scrooge, the founder of the feast.
The founder of the feast, indeed. I wish I had him here. I'd give him a piece of my mind to feast upon, and I hope he'd have a good appetite for it.
Sorry. Sorry, I forgot to scroll. We won't have that problem next week. Everybody will have the script in front of them. So, where we at?
My dear.
Let's take it with my dear the children. Christmas Day.
That's
Is
correct.
that me?
Yeah.
Yep.
I think so.
My dear, the children, Christmas Day?
It should be Christmas Day, I am sure, on which one drinks the health of such an odious, stingy, hard, unfeeling man as Mr. Scrooge. You know he is, Robert. Nobody knows it better than you do, poor fellow.
My dear, have some charity. It's Christmas Day.
I'll drink his health for your sake, and the day's, not for his. Long life to him, a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. He'll be very merry and very happy, I have no doubt.
Scrooge sees he is the ogre of the family and turns away from them toward the window where the evening sun sets. Spirit gestures to Scrooge to hold his robe, and the two rise up through the roof of the hut and high into the exterior of the night sky. They fly above the moors, speeding out to sea. To Scrooge's horror, looking back, he sees the last of the land, a frightful range of rocks. Behind them, the exterior of the ocean. Spirit and Scrooge, two rapidly moving silhouettes, skimming the ocean's surface. We fade to the interior of his nephew's sitting room at night. It's a bright, dry, gleaming room in a finely appointed house. Spirit, standing smiling by Scrooge's side, looks at Scrooge's nephew with approving affability. Scrooge's nephew Fred laughs, holding his sides, rolling his head and twisting his face into the most extravagant contortions. Scrooge's niece by marriage laughs as heartily as he, and their assembled friends, being not a bit behindhand, roar out lustily.
He said that Christmas was a humbug, as I live, and he believed it too.
More shame for him, Fred.
Scrooge's niece is exceedingly pretty, with a dimpled, surprised-looking capital face, a ripe little mouth. Seems to be made to be kissed, as no doubt it often is. She's seated in a large chair with a footstool in a snug corner right by the door, and never leaves this position.
I should very much like to meet your Uncle Fred. The droll way in which you portray him makes me curious.
He's a comical old fellow, that's the truth, and not so pleasant as he might be. However, his offenses carry their own punishment, and I have nothing to say against him.
I'm sure he's very rich, Fred. At least you always tell me so.
What of that, my dear? His wealth is of no use to him. He doesn't do any good with it. He doesn't make himself comfortable with it. Okay, it finally caught up. He hasn't the satisfaction of thinking that he is ever going to benefit us with it.
I have no patience with him. Nor I.
Oh, I have. I am sorry for him. I couldn't be angry with him if I tried. Who suffers by his ill whims? Himself. Always here. It takes it into his hand to dislike us, and he won't come and dine with us. What's the consequence? He don't lose much of a dinner.
Indeed, I think he loses a very good dinner. Really, Fred, I think you're being awfully charitable.
Is that so? It may be because my mother, God rest her saintly soul, was very fond of him, and she did love him.
The spirit glances at Scrooge, who tries to appear unmoved.
Do go on, Fred. He never finishes what he begins to say. He's such a ridiculous fellow.
I was only going to say that the consequence of his taking a dislike to us and not making merry with us is, as I think, that he loses some pleasant moments, which could do him no harm. I am sure he loses pleasanter companions than he can find in his own thoughts, either in his moldy old office or his dusty chambers. I mean, to give him the same chance every year, whether he likes it or not, for a pity him. He may rail at Christmas until he dies, but he can't help thinking better of it. I defy him. If he finds me going there, in good temper, year after year, and saying, Uncle Scrooge, how are you? If he only puts him in the vein to leave his poor clerk £50, well, that's something. And I think I shook him yesterday.
Before Fred finishes, one of the female guests has begun to play a simple little tune upon the harp. The rhythm is infectious, and Scrooge keeps time with his feet, enjoying himself in a quiet way. Spirit seems greatly pleased to find him in this mood. We dissolve. To the exterior of the shadow of a church tower. Church clock reads but a few minutes before midnight. Scrooge and the spirit stand below it, while Scrooge remains unaltered in his outward form. The ghost has grown older, clearly older, its hair whitened with age. Scrooge squints at the spirit as they stand together.
Your hair's gray. Our spirits' lives so short.
My life is very brief. It ends tonight.
Tonight?
Tonight at midnight.
Forgive me if I am not justified in what I ask, but I see something strange and not belonging to yourself, protruding from your skirts. Is it a foot or a claw?
It might well be a claw for all of the flesh there is upon it. Look here.
From the foldings of its robe, it brings two children, wretched, abject, frightful, hideous, miserable. They kneel down at its feet and cling upon the outside of its garment.
Oh, man, look here. Look. Look down here.
Boy and a girl, yellow, meager, ragged. A stale and shriveled hand like that of age has pinched and twisted them and pulled them into shreds.
Spirit, are they yours?
They are man's, and they cling to me, appealing from their fathers. This boy is ignorance. The girl is want. Beware of them both, and all of their degree, but most of all beware this boy, for on his brow I see that is written which is doom, unless Skelly scrolls, unless the writing is erased. Deny it.
The spirit stretches out his hand towards the city.
Friend of those who tell it me. Admit it for your factitious purposes and make it worse, and hide the end.
Have they no refuge or resource?
Are there no prisons? Are there no workhouses?
Scrooge winces at this. The church bell tower strikes 12. Scrooge looks about him. Spirit is gone. Another, a solemn phantom, draped and hooded, comes like a mist along the ground towards him.
Midnight, the last of the spirits.
The phantom slowly, gravely, silently approaches. Scrooge bends down upon his knee, for in the very air through which this phantom moves, it seems to scatter gloom and mystery. It is shrouded in a deep black garment. which conceals its head, its face, its form, and leaves nothing of its visible save one outstretched hand.
Am I in the presence of the ghost of Christmas yet to come?
The phantom answers not, but points onward with its hand.
You are about to show me shadows of things that have not happened, but will happen in the time before us. Is that so, Spirit?
The upper portion of the garment contracts for an instant in its folds as if the phantom has nodded its head.
Ghost of the future, I fear you more than any specter I have seen. But as I know your purpose is to do me good, and as I hope to live to be another man from what I was.
Oops, sorry.
I lost it.
That's weird because
I
it
am.
seems to scroll quicker for Jason and not for other people.
Yeah,
so
I'm
not
watching
sure.
in the studio. That's I have a really good connection. So anyway,
Yeah, y'all just bear with us, and we won't have this next week. Everybody should have a script in front of them to read. So, okay, sorry about that, Jason.
Oh, you're good. I am prepared to bear your company and do it with a thankful heart. Will you not speak to me?
It gives him no reply. The hand points straight before them.
Lead on, lead on. The night is waning fast, and it is precious time to me. I know. Lead on, Spirit.
The phantom moves away as it had come towards him. Scrooge follows in its shadow, which seems to bear upon him and carry him along. We fade to the interior of the London Exchange. They scarcely seem to enter the exchange, for the exchange rather seems to spring about upon them. Phantom stops and points to one little knot of men. Scrooge peers at them. Among them are the fat man and the red-faced man he had spoken to the day before.
Yes, I know these gentlemen, business associates.
The phantom continues to point. Scrooge takes the hint and advances to listen to their talk. Fat man, who was that?
Monstrous kitten.
Okie, fat man. Or was that Bimbo?
No, I'm the
reluctant. Okie. Okay, Okie. Still there, buddy? Okie on mute.
No, I don't know much about it. Either way, I only know he's dead.
When did he die?
Last night, I believe.
What is the matter with him? I thought he never died.
God knows.
What has happened to his money?
I haven't heard. Left it to his company, perhaps? He hasn't left it to me. That's all I know.
Everyone laughs.
It's likely to be a very cheap funeral, for upon my life, I don't know of anybody to go to it. Suppose we make a party and volunteer.
That's awesome.
Come on.
Squirrel Scully. I don't mind going if lunch is provided. I must be fed if I make one.
Well, I am the most disinterested among you after all. For I never wear black gloves and I never eat lunch, but I'll offer to go if anybody else will. When I come to think of it, I'm not at all sure that I wasn't his most particular friend. where we used to stop and speak whenever we met. Bye-bye.
The men stroll away and mix with other groups. Scrooge looks around at the multitudes of pedestrians pouring past him.
I can't help but notice that this is my accustomed corner, and I see by the clock that this is my usual time of day for being here, but I see no likeness of myself.
Caught up in what he's saying, Scrooge fails to see the phantom move off.
Not that I'm surprised, you understand. You see, I've been revolving in my mind a change of life, and I should like to think, that is, I rather hope, that my not being here is the result of my having carried out some resolutions regarding...
Scrooge suddenly notices that the phantom has moved on down the street and hurriedly follows it. That's our big gap. Yeah, I think it was. Scrooge finds himself in a dark room, almost touching the bed, a bare uncurtained bed.
Merciful heaven, what is this?
A pale light rising in the outer air falls straight upon the bed, and on it, plundered and bereft, unwatched, unwept, uncared for, is the body of a man. Scrooge glances towards the phantom. Its steady hand points to the covered head. Scrooge hesitantly approaches the dead man and attempts to uncover its face, but he cannot bring himself to do it. His hand shakes and he backs away. Cat meows somewhere in the distance. Scrooge's face is dripping with sweat and he turns to the phantom.
Spirit, this is a fearful place. In leaving it, I shall not leave its lesson. Trust me. Let us go.
Still the phantom points with an unmoved finger to the head.
I understand you, and I would look at this dead man's face if I could, but I have not the power, Spirit. I have not the power.
The phantom seems to look upon him.
If there is any person in the town who feels emotion caused by this man's death, show that person to me, Spirit, I beseech you.
The light that falls from above instantly flashes, momentarily blinding Scrooge when his eyes clear. In the interior of Bob Cratchit's home. Mrs. Cratchit and the children sit around the fire. Quiet, very quiet. The noisy little Cratchits are as still as statues in one corner and sit looking up at Peter, who has a book before him. The mother and her daughter sew. Peter looks up to see Mrs. Cratchit lay her work upon the table and put her hand to her face.
A little bit more. Shall I stop reading?
No. It's only the color. It hurts my eyes.
Scrooge is puzzled by this. He peers intently at the group. Black is the color of the material in the woman's hands. Mrs. Cratchit regains her composure.
They're better now again. It makes them weak by candlelight, and I wouldn't show weak eyes to your father when he comes home. It must be near his time.
Past it, rather. But I think he's walked a little slower than he used to these last few evenings, Mother.
Peter shuts his Bible. They're very quiet again. And then Miss Cratchit speaks in a steady, cheerful voice that only falters once.
I have known him walk with Tiny Tim upon his shoulders very fast indeed.
And so have I, often.
He was very light to carry, and his father loved him so that it was no trouble. No trouble.
A noise stirs her.
Scroll, scroll, scroll.
Catching up, catching up, catching up. There's your
And
father.
there's your father at the door.
Bob and his comforter comes in alone as the family greets him with his cup of tea. It finally dawns on Scrooge what has happened.
Oh, my God.
The family makes no move. Scrooge watches as the Cratchit family draws about the fire. Peter tries to read silently to himself. Girls and mother return to their sewing. Bob sips his tea.
I ran into Mr. Scrooge's nephew in the street today. He thought I looked just a little down, and he inquired as to what had happened to the distressed me. On which, for he is the pleasantest spoken gentleman you ever heard, I told him, I am heartily sorry for it, Mr. Cratchit. He said, and heartily sorry for your good wife. By the by, how he ever knew that, I don't know.
Knew what?
Why, that you were a good wife.
Mrs. Cratchit smiles.
Everybody knows that.
I hope they do. Heartily sorry, he said, for your good wife. If I can be of service to you of any way, be sure to let me know. And he handed me his card. Now, it wasn't for the sake of anything he might be able to do for us, so much as for his kind way, that this was quite delightful. It really seemed as if he had known our Tiny Tim and felt with us.
I'm sure he's a good soul.
You would be sure of it if you saw and spoke to him. I shouldn't be at all surprised if he got Peter a better situation.
You're there, Peter?
Then Peter will be keeping company with someone and setting up for himself. Get along with you.
It's just as likely as not, one of these days, so there's plenty of time for that. But however and whenever we part from one another, I'm sure none of us will forget poor Tiny Tim, shall we? With this first parting that there was among us.
No.
No, never, Father.
Never, Father.
God,
Father.
you'll never forget him. Never.
And I know that when we recollect how patient and how mild he was, although he was a little child, we shall not quarrel easily amongst ourselves and forget poor Tiny Tim in doing it.
No,
No,
Father.
we'll never
That's
Never,
right.
forget.
Father.
No.
Never, Father.
I am very happy, very happy.
Mrs. Cratchit kisses him. His daughters kiss him, and two young Cratchits kiss him, and Peter shakes his hand. Bob abruptly leaves the room and goes upstairs. The family members look at one another with concern. We fade to the interior of the upstairs bedroom. It's cheerfully lit, hung with Christmas decorations. Bob enters hesitantly and sits down in the chair close to the bed. After he composes himself with an unspoken prayer, he leans over and kisses the face of Tiny Tim, whose body we now see stretched out, lifeless breaks down all at once.
My little child.
Scrooge watches grimly from the far side of the room. The phantom stands beside him. Scrooge shuts his eyes.
Tell me what man that was whom we saw lying dead.
When Scrooge opens his eyes, we're at the exterior of a London street. Scrooge and the phantom are halfway between Scrooge's counting house and the church tower opposite it. The phantom leads Scrooge toward the church, but Scrooge, seeing the counting house, grasps the phantom's robe.
Wait, that is where my place of occupation is, and has been for a length of time. Let me behold what I shall be in days to come.
The phantom stops.
My
The
office
hand
is...
points
Oh,
to
sorry.
square.
My fault, sorry. My office is yonder. Why do you point away?
The inexorable finger undergoes no change.
Just wait a moment, please.
Scrooge rushes off. He nervously hastens to the window of his office and looks in. It's an office still, but not his. The furniture is not the same, and the figure in the chair is not himself. The phantom points as before. Scrooge joins the phantom once again, confused, and accompanies it until they reach an iron gate. He pauses to look around before entering. A row of gravestones. Phantom stands among the graves and points down to one. Scrooge advances towards it, trembling, then stops.
Before I draw near to that stone to which you point, answer me one question. Are these the shadows of the things that will be, or are they shadows of things that may be only?
Still, the phantom points downward to the grave by which it stands.
Men's courses will foreshadow certain ends to which, if preserved in, they must lead. But if the courses be departed from, the ends will change. Say it is thus with what you show me.
The phantom is immovable as ever. Scrooge creeps toward the grave, trembling, and following the finger, reads upon the stone of the neglected grave his own name, Ebenezer Scrooge. He falls to his knees.
Am I that man who lay upon the bed?
The finger points from the grave to Scrooge and back again.
No, spirit. Oh, no, no.
The finger is still there. Scrooge scrambles to his feet and clutches the phantom's robe.
Spirit, hear me. I am not the man I was. I will not be the man I must have been but for this intervention. Why show me this if I am past all hope? Good Spirit, your nature intercedes for me and pities me. Assure me that I yet may change these shadows you have shown me by an altered life. I will honor Christmas in my heart and try to keep it all year. I will live in the past, the present, and the future. The spirits of all three shall strive within me. I will not shut out the lessons that they teach. Oh, tell me I may sponge away the writing on this stone.
In his agony, as he catches the spectral hand, Scrooge sees an unalteration in the phantom's hood and dress. It shrinks, collapses, and dwindles down into a bedpost. The interior of Scrooge's bedroom. Yes, and the bedpost is his own. Scrooge lets go of the post and scrambles out of bed, falling to his knees. He's out of his mind, babbling like a lunatic.
I would live in the past, the present, and the future. The spirits of all three shall strive within me. Oh, Jacob Marley, heaven and Christmas time be praised for this. I say it on my knees, old Jacob, on my knees.
Scrooge folds a bed curtain over his arm.
They are not torn down. They are not torn down, rings and all. They are here. I am here. The shadows of the things that would have been may be dispelled. They will be. I know they will.
Scrooge stands there perfectly winded.
I don't know what to do. I am as light as a feather. I am as happy as an angel. I am as merry as a schoolboy. I am as giddy as a drunken man. A Merry Christmas to everybody. A Happy New Year to all the world.
Starts off again going around the fireplace.
There's a saucepan that the gruel was in. There's the door by which the ghost of Jacob Marley entered. There's the corner where the ghost of Christmas present sat. There's the window where I saw the wandering spirits. It's all right. It's all true. It all happened.
He pauses as the church bell rings out the hour. Scrooge starts babbling along with it.
Clash, clang, hammer, ding dong bell, bell dong ding, hammer, clang, clash. Oh, glorious, glorious.
He runs to the window, hurls it open, and looks out. Not a trace of fog of darkness. Golden sunlight, heavenly blue sky. Merry bells. Not too many people on the street.
Oh, glorious, glorious.
Scrooge spots a boy in Sunday clothes loitering on the sidewalk below.
What's today?
Hey,
What's today, my fine fellow?
today? Why, it's Christmas Day.
It's Christmas Day. I haven't missed it. The spirits have done it all in one night. They can do anything they like. Of course they can. Of course they can. Hello, my fine fellow.
Hello.
Do you know the poulterers in the next street but one at the corner?
I should hope I did.
An intelligent boy. A remarkable boy. Do you know whether they've sold the prize turkey that was hanging up there? Not the little prize turkey, the big one.
What, the one as big as me?
Oh, what a delightful boy. It's a pleasure to talk to him. Yes, my buck.
It's hanging there now.
Is it? Go and buy it.
The boy stares in disbelief for a moment, then thumbs his nose at Scrooge in disgust.
Walker.
No, I am in earnest. Go and buy it and tell him to bring it here, that I may give them the directions where to take it. Come back with the man, and I'll give you a shilling. Come back with him in less than 5 minutes, and I'll give you half a crown.
The boy takes off running down the street.
I'll send it to Bob Cratchit's. He shan't know who sends it. It's twice the size of Tiny Tim. Joe Miller never made such a joke as sending it to Bob's will be.
Out in the street, Scrooge is dressed in his Sunday best. By this time, crowds pour forth, as he had seen them with the ghost of Christmas present. Walking with his hands behind him, Scrooge regards everyone with a delighted smile. We fade to the exterior of the house at night. A nice part of town. Scrooge paces uncertainly outside. He slowly approaches the front door, but at the last moment, he returns to the sidewalk. Finally, he takes a deep breath, finds the courage to go up and knock, makes a dash for it. He knocks and stands there, tight-lipped and shaking nervously. No answer. He begins to leave. The maid opens the door.
Is your master at home, my dear?
Scroll up just a little bit more. Yes, sir.
Where is he, my love?
He's in the sitting room, sir, along with his mistress. I'll show you in, if you please.
The maid leads Scrooge to the closed sitting room door.
Thank ye. He knows me. I'll just go in, my dear.
From his face, it's clear to her that he is scared to enter. Taking a deep breath, he turns the doorknob gently and sidles his face in round the door. He sees his nephew Fred surrounded by his party guests, all laughing in long, hearty laughs, and exactly as Scrooge had heard it when with the spirit.
He said that Christmas was humbug, as I live. And he believed it, too.
Fred!
Scrooge flings the door open and startles his niece, who is, as before, sitting in the chair in the corner right by the door. Scrooge is at once apologetic and turns to her.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot you were there.
She doesn't know quite what to make of that. Scrooge's back is momentarily turned toward his nephew and gazes on him in disbelief.
Why, bless my soul. Who's that?
Scrooge turns around to face his astonished nephew, then nervously threads his way through the guests to confront him.
It's I, your Uncle Scrooge.
Scrooge flashes a happy grin. The guests stare at him in confusion.
I have come as you asked. Will you let me in, Fred?
Scroll up. Let you in?
Fred bursts out laughing again and shakes Scrooge's hand so hard it's a mercy he doesn't take his arm off. Some of the others move away from him and whisper among themselves, "Surely this isn't the Uncle Scrooge?"
You know I've always wanted to meet you, Mr. Scrooge. The droll way in which your nephew portrays you has made me curious. I say, have you met Mr.
One of the female guests has begun to play a simple little tune on the harp, and the others choose partners and take to dancing about the room. There might be 20 people in there, young and old, but they all dance, including, for the first time in years, Ebenezer Scrooge. We dissolve to the interior of the counting house at day after Christmas. Bright sunshine pours into Scrooge's office. All is quiet save for the ticking of the clock, which reads 9:18. Scrooge sits behind his desk, grinning like a madman, with his door wide open so that he might see Bob Cratchit come into his tank-like office. Well, Bob burst in, his hat and comforter already off. He jumps on the stool in a jiffy, driving away with his pen as if he were trying to overtake 9 o'clock. Meanwhile, trying to suppress a grin, Scrooge manages an approximation of his old caustic personality.
Cratchit, you're late. What do you mean by coming here this time of day?
I'm very sorry, sir. I'm behind my time.
You are. Yes, I think you are. Step this way, if you please.
Bob reluctantly leaves the tank and joins Scrooge in the office.
It's only once a year, sir. I shall not be repeated. I was making rather merry yesterday, sir.
Now, I'll tell you what, my friend. I'm not going to stand for this sort of thing any longer, and therefore...
Scrooge leaps up from his chair, gives Bob such a dig in the waistcoat, he staggers back into the tank again.
And... and therefore I am about to raise your salary.
Bob gasps. He's inches away from Scrooge, picking up a nearby ruler to use in self-defense.
A Merry Christmas, Bob. A merrier Christmas, Bob, my good fellow, than I have ever given you for many a year. I'm going to raise your salary, and if you let me, I'd like to try to help your family.
An incredulous Bob stares at Scrooge for a long, long moment.
Well, let's discuss it this afternoon over a Christmas bowl of smoking bishop, Bob. Make up the fires and buy another coal scuttle before you dot another I, Bob Cratchit.
Scrooge grins at a still uncertain Bob Cratchit. This distinct sound of carolers singing an appropriate hymn grows louder as we dissolve to the interior of the sitting room at night. The narrator looks down at the book in his lap, quiet smile on his face. Outside his window, a small group of carolers slowly approach, continuing the hymn. The young people circled around the narrator seem edgy and dissatisfied. And that's the story.
Scroll it up
Check, 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 check,
a little more.
check, check, check.
How much of that was true?
Well, I was there for some of it, and I heard about some of it, and I made up the rest. The children laughed.
Yeah, but did old man Scrooge really keep his word?
Yes, in fact, he was better than his word. He did everything he said he would, and much more.
What happened to Tiny Tim? Did
No, Tiny Tim did not die, and Scrooge was like a second father to him. He became as good a friend, as good as a teacher, good as a man, as any person could hope to know. The girl seems reassured.
Oh, come on. People don't just change like that overnight.
In fact, a lot of people laughed at him when he changed, but he let them laugh. Didn't pay any attention to it. I think he was smart enough to know that nothing good ever happens in this world that people won't laugh at first. And that it's better to make people laugh than make them do some other things I can think of. His own heart laughed, and I think that was good enough for him. Sorry, Nez. It's
okay.
coming.
I know.
You know.
Do you mean to say that he had no further intercourse with spirits?
Oh, well, after that, he adopted the principle of abstinence, and no spirits ever visited him again, as far as he knew. Well, it was always said of Mr. Scrooge that if anyone knew how to keep Christmas, well, it was him. If only that could truly be said of us, of all of us. Merry Christmas. The narrator returns the book to the 10-year-old girl.
And may God bless us, everyone.
Hey, that's it. Okay.
All right.
Oh,
Yeah.
you know what? Last time we got rid of the 10-year-old
Yeah,
girl
I need-
saying that.
What was that?
Last rehearsal, we got rid of the 10-year-old girl saying that, and then we finished with Tiny Tim saying, "May God bless
Oh,
us,
so
everyone."
like you talking about like right here? Hang on a second.
Yeah. I remember we thought it was a bit redundant.
So I need to.
I remember.
You saying I need to take this out?
Whatever you want to do. I'm just trying to.
Hang on.
I remember last rehearsal, I thought you decided that you didn't want to
So we were just going to get Tiny Tim to say that at the end,
Right,
Yeah.
right.
and taking. Oh, wait a minute.
I didn't know you were done narrating after the little girl. Anyway, I thought you were narrating up to Tiny Tim saying that.
Oh, yeah. See, because
Yeah,
Tiny
there's
Tim's
a
at the
part.
very end.
You talking about? Hang on a second. I'm sorry. I'm a little bit lost.
Yeah, you probably want to
You
do
talking
that.
about this?
Yeah, you probably want to do that last one. wouldn't
We
you?
need to
Right.
read that right there.
Yeah.
So
Right,
like,
you got rid of that, and then I don't know how much of what you have left you were going to narrate and read,
What,
and
you
then
mean I
we
got-
end with Tiny Tim.
I got rid of this right here.
No, I'm
No.
saying you stopped after the 10-year-old girl
Oh no,
said it.
I already took it out. Okay, I see what you're saying. I got
Oh,
you.
okay.
All right. Bless us, everyone. Yeah. So let's just leave this. Let's just leave
Okay.
leave this out.
Okay.
And
So
when I get to
you will end up reading that the narrator smiles and all of
yeah,
that.
after he returns the book to the 10-year-old, then basically it goes to Tiny Tim right here.
Well, you don't want to read that.
Okay, yeah.
You don't want to read that last bit about the carolers and all that, because that's a closing.
Yes, I was going to read
Yeah, we
this.
can sing our way out.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to read this.
Okay. Yeah.
And we're going to skip
That's good.
the 10-year-old girl. Read that
Yep.
passage, Jason, then we'll roll down and she'll say that right there.
Yeah, I got
Right.
you. I was just
Okay.
making
Yes.
sure you're going to read that.
I'll
last
clean
bit.
all that up too and send all you guys a copy of it, of course.
Perfect. Perfect.
But
Thank you.
yeah, y'all
Thank
did
you.
great, man. It was just like
Wow.
superb.
Best
I was
rehearsal
really
yet.
impressed.
Very smooth.
You guys are
Mhm.
great. You guys are great. I
Except
never.
for the one working the scrolling was a little
You all
slack.
did a great job. Yeah. Well, the weird thing is, like, it scrolls faster for Jason, but not for other people because of.
I mean,
depending
because
on-
for me, it was so slow.
Well, are you
Really?
watching in the studio or are you trying to watch on YouTube? That's the.
I'm
just
watching on
asking.
YouTube.
Me
I'm
too.
Well, that's
watching-
why. That's why.
Oh, should I be watching on StreamYard?
Yes.
Okay.
StreamYard is
Oh yeah,
instantaneous.
yeah. That's true. I didn't think about that.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'll do it on StreamYard next week.
Well, you'll have
Well,
a script.
no,
You'll
there
have a
won't be a
script.
script up there. You need to have a script to read in your hand,
Right.
and because there's going to be a music overlay up there, you know. In fact, take that down real quick and stop that screen for a second. See if I can pull up the overlay that we're going to read to. Oops. Let's read.
Oh, bump the mic. Pump up the volume. Pump up the volume.
Is that the one? No, that's.
Yeah,
And
you
so
got
how
it.
did everybody inside chat?
Oh no, we're reading from the one from last year. Okay. I'm curious. I want to check something real quick and see if my internet's any faster.
God rest ye merry gentlemen, let nothing you dismay.
Problem is when you get such a lot of videos, you can't remember where they all are.
Everybody's singing our way out. That God rest you merry gentlemen, or figure out like any kind of carol that we could all just kind of fall in and sing.
I would love that. In the script, it said "God rest you merry gentlemen." That's what was in my head. But
yeah,
I mean, if we were going to sing something, I don't care as long as it's not Jingle Bell Rock or
Rudolph or something like that.
right,
Yeah,
something stupid.
Does everybody know?
song is-
Does everybody know at least one verse of "God Rest You Merry"? You know, at least part of it.
I know
anymore.
all of it. Actually,
Let's do it right now.
Rest you merry gentlemen. Yeah, da, da, da,
let
da, da.
nothing.
Yeah, that's the one.
Remember Christ our
Christ our
Savior was born on
was born
Christmas
on
Day
Christmas Day
to
to
save
save us
us all
all from
from
Satan's
Satan's
power.
power
We
when we
were
were
gone
gone
astray.
astray.
Oh,
Oh,
tidings
tidings
of
of
comfort and
comfort and
joy,
joy, comfort and
joy,
joy.
I better
tidings
find the
of
words and
comfort and
download them and print them
joy.
up so I can sing.
If
Dolly could
people,
always post the lyrics, and everybody at home can sing along.
Yeah, that's an
Well,
idea.
I mean, if people know a different song better, the one that makes me cry is "Oh Holy Night." That's probably not. It's not a real cheery ending to the.
So I was paying attention. I was trying to pull that overlay in, so it looked like.
we can always do the
Man,
12
this,
Days of Christmas.
this story's kind of a tearjerker there for a
How
minute.
world I made everybody's voice in the past 60 seconds.
I seriously, I was so into it that when he was looking at Tiny Tim missing, I about started crying. Honestly,
I know,
Yeah.
right? It's really gut
seriously,
wrenching when you think of that.
I was locked in. I was into the script, which is good. That's a good thing. But when it got to that part, I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. I mean, maybe you don't realize going into that scene that he's already passed. He's up there, you know, and like it kind of freak you out, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming, but I was like, I wasn't thinking about it until it happened.
Mm-hmm.
I see dead people.
I guess when I pull that overlay in, I don't know, it takes a minute to load up. How stupid is that, man? Hopefully I got these issues fixed when my cable gets in, but I ain't never had so many problems with this overlays like this. That's the great Mayu music right there. There's a link in the description. You know, he's got Creative Commons for his music, but you got to give him the attribution. Can everybody hear me?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sound good.
Just want to make sure. Do y'all like this overlay?
Yeah, I think it's cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I
It
like the
looks like
ghost.
that chick
Bimbo,
Amy
you need to
Lee
get
from
out of here.
Evanescence.
Yeah, because I get to get up at 6 in the morning, so.
I know.
Well, thanks for
Thanks for
showing up,
making
and
time.
you did
We're going to
awesome,
start
Bimbo.
an hour early for the show, but
Yeah,
you
well,
did a
trust
good
me,
job
Scully.
tonight, having to take on an extra character and everything. So
Scully, this is
Who's
a
that?
pleasure and an honor to do this.
I know it is. I agree.
Yes, it is.
yeah,
Grandma got ran
it's just a
over
great
by
story, and it's a
a
great thing to be a part of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, has anybody
Yeah,
ever
fair.
read the
Y'all should
actual
go check.
book?
What's
Has
that?
anybody ever read the actual book?
Yeah.
Yes.
In fact, I'm going to read that on my channel. I
was just getting ready to say that Dr. Sleep is going to be reading it on his channel, and those of y'all that don't know his channel, go over there, and I'll make sure to get the links for all y'all's channels in here. But go
I
over there and
posted
check
the
out
Dr.
his
Sleep link in the
readings.
chat.
They're
Sure did.
phenomenal.
Thank
Yeah.
Okay, good. Just
And I
phenomenal audio and just delivery,
Well, thank you.
everything.
I called Scully
Mhm.
and made sure to ask permission.
I mean, because there's some parts
You better
I did.
stop.
I did. I mean, we weren't talking for that reason. We were
I
talking
know.
about but yeah, I said, just making sure, you know, I don't want to interfere or anything, and make sure and check with you, make sure it's all right. He was like, yeah, man, and, you know, like
Hell
it was
yeah.
just, I was hoping it would give him a little chuckle. That's all.
Okay, so we can't sing Jingle Bell Rock. We can't sing I Saw Mama Kissing Santa.
Right.
No, Grandma got run over by a
Gosh.
reindeer.
Those are the 3 no-nos, my friend. Those
Oh,
are the,
okay. What about something from Alvin and the Chipmunks?
oh, please,
Oh, God,
What
no.
do they get? They like get strike down when people do that?
No, I'm just playing. You guys,
Oh,
if
yeah.
everyone wants to sing "Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer," I'll try to get in the Christmas spirit with it.
How about Bimbo
No, I
got
think
ran
we
over
need to
by a
do it.
reindeer?
Yeah. Well, I'll volunteer for that.
I kind of like
Okay,
the old
guys.
school Christmas
Hey,
song.
thank you, Bimbo. Appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Me too.
Okay, guys. So I will be here
Me too, Okie.
Saturday, and I
And
hate
thank
pimping my
everybody
own
in the
channel,
chat
but
tonight, all the guests, and I appreciate y'all coming
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, you had a good crowd especially for a rehearsal.
yeah, but I am
49
doing my
thumbs up.
Christmas show on Friday at 8:00. So if you want to watch, stupidity, watch that.
What Saturday? What?
What
No,
do you say?
I'll
Friday
be
at
there.
Friday.
What's
I mean,
Friday?
Friday.
you
Harley
can learn a
Quinn.
lot, but it's a hoot over there too. So I don't know. Somehow I always find myself at the Bimbo show every Friday night.
The Bimbo Show, huh?
Now
Yeah,
that's not
Bimbo
entirely true.
Barbarella music
Sometimes you
program.
Gotcha.
sometimes you find your
Well,
way over to
usually
my show.
That's
this would
right.
be true.
That's right.
And if you want more
Oh my
craziness,
gosh.
come to my channel on
No, I mean-
Friday night for Fun
Yeah.
with Art.
Nez, the artist that sings to you.
The artist.
What,
who
tell
sings.
everybody
Yeah.
what you
Nez.
drew the other night, Nez.
Bimbo,
Or did you want to
what
wait
did you need?
and do that at interview?
Nez, and so drop your link so I can join.
Oh, well, okay.
Because I don't think I am.
Izzy Pop has my link. Thank you, Izzy Pop.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks.
You know what, Scully?
Easy Pa.
Too many seconds have gone by. I done forgot.
That's okay. I remember. The
What was I
other
gonna say?
night, I did a drawing of Jacob Marley,
Yeah, you
the
did.
one based on Sir Alec Guinness from the 1970
Oh,
film
yeah.
Scrooge.
Yeah, she sure did.
I will be just like we did for Jaws, where I did 3 pieces of artwork, and there will be another giveaway. You'll have to stay for the whole performance.
Yeah, it's
and
one of
be
those
there at
gorgeous
the end.
charcoal painting, right, Nez?
It's a charcoal drawing, white on black Strathmore paper. And then I've got
Yeah,
2
the
more
white
drawings
one.
I will be doing.
Oh.
And my giveaway will be, we'll do a drawing at the end of the performance. And the winner will get to select the drawing of their choice.
Fantastic.
And I believe Okie Grower
Wow.
is willing to also participate and do a giveaway of his own. Okie, you want to talk about it?
Yes, I'm going to be throwing down with a $25 Amazon gift card that you can
wow.
hell
get
yeah.
whatever you want off of Amazon. Get you some paint supplies, some art supplies, so you can join Miss Nez on her art streams. You will be shocked and amazed by her voice. Because holy cow, she can sing pretty damn awesomely. It's really really nice to hear.
I might have a little game after the show where we have a few quotes or something, and y'all in the chat try to guess who said it in the story, and first person in the chat or whatever kind of thing. Maybe we can do that for the giveaway or something, do a little thing like that.
And then when we're all done at Scully's, with every little thing, then you're all welcome to come over to Nez Studios, and I'm doing the after party. So we'll have some fun after the show.
Party.
Gotta do the after
gotta
party
have an after
stuff. Nez knows all about this.
How's that old saying?
Oops, sorry.
What happens after
Yeah,
after
that's right.
party stays at the after party.
That's right.
That's
So-
right. Except for what?
And
Except for the clips and the screenshots that the trolls will be getting and making their own videos about it. Other than that, it'll just be between us.
Oh man.
so for those of you that have never done theater, the rule is that after a performance, then there is always an after party, and it's not just relegated to the cast. Anybody can come, and that was one of my favorite thing about performances. We'd have a cast party after every performance. It was awesome. So that's going to happen, the after party on Neslever's channel after the performance.
That's right. And I'll have it up where people can come up on panel, and if you want to chit chat and chew the fat and whatever, you go right ahead. Welcome to Nez Studios after the show.
Hey,
What a
meet
great
the cast
comment.
at Moses. I like
What?
it.
Thank you, Addie.
Meet the cast and crew.
Yep, meet the cast and crew. That's right.
Anna's Adventures and Call Me B, Vegas Paranormal, BLB Sumas, Jake. Trying to say hey to a few people out there. Is Ace Dama.
Scotty B.
We got Ajod.
Hi, Ajod.
B. There he is. Just chilling. Welcome to the show. Catlin. Benny Loco. And there's Miss McFucklestein, Beachy McFucklestein, and Angela Critters. Welcome.
That's a great
We had a
tag
fun
right
time
there.
tonight, you guys.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
I had fun. I wasn't even aware how
Yeah.
much time went by. That's how into it I was.
It took us
You
about
did
2 hours and
fantastic.
15 minutes to read through. And
I think
that's
it'll
pretty
go-
good. Let's see more.
it'll
Campbells. Welcome.
It'll go a little faster when you don't have to scroll and everybody's got the script and they can come in right after one
Mhm,
another.
Exactly. And we'll have a 15 intermission at 15 minutes, so it'll make the show probably around 2.5 hours total. So
And
by
during the
time I
intermission,
in and everything.
you'll get to not only see credits of the people who are in the show and some other appropriate music for the show. We're also going to feature the 3 pieces of artwork that if you win the drawing at the end of the show, you can pick your choice.
Awesome.
Can I make a request? I'm not saying
Certainly.
I'm going to win it, but I would love the Christmas Future drawing of that. You know,
Okay.
that'd be fantastic.
All right. I will do that. I've gotten Jacob Marley done. I'm going to
Yep.
do the Ghost of Christmas Present. And then, per your request, I will do the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come.
Fantastic. And even if I don't win it, I'll still enjoy watching the drawing.
It's going to
for
be
that.
fun to do on that black paper.
Yeah.
Lord.
I'm gonna try to get Jen. I think she started one, and we'll see if she wants to finish it or
Yes.
do
Yes,
another.
I challenged her to do the Ghost of Christmas Past. I think
Oh,
Jen will
okay.
have a beautiful piece there.
She's good with detail and lines and stuff, which is wonderful. You guys just amaze me, artists. Just blow my mind. Wow.
It's pretty cool to watch, ain't it?
Yeah. And everybody has their own little different style, which makes sense to me. It's
Worlds
not
are
exactly
changing.
the same.
Yeah, watching Jen and Nez
That's right.
create art, like just out of nothing, and make something so cool in like an hour. It's kind of mind-boggling,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, absolutely.
Swedish.
Well, okay,
Thank you.
we don't have any lines together
Kinky.
necessarily, but it was sure nice doing this with you, Okie. On
yeah, absolutely.
get to match the voice with the YouTube channel.
A couple
Yeah,
special
I've been
thanks tonight.
tracking.
But this has been so much fun.
A couple of my special thanks to Benny Loco and Swedish Sugar for covering the chat with with links and everything. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Can hardly pay attention
Yeah,
to
thank
what's
you.
going on over there. Yeah, so I think we'll go ahead and end the show. Everybody come out this Saturday. That's 4 days from now. Saturday the 17th at 7 p.m. Central. It's going to be a really great time. A lot of cool people out here. I can't wait. It's going to be the biggest production that we've done so far. So with that being said, I'm Scully, the author that reads to you. This is the House of Thrillers.
Yes, it is.
I read my novels and other works in the public domain with sound effects, visuals that go with the story, and now we're doing live theater. So I'm really excited. Anybody else have anything to say before we close out?
I'd like to just thank you for the opportunity, and I'd like to thank everyone who showed up in the chat and all my fellow actors and actresses. It was really a fun time. I really enjoyed it. So thank you.
Yeah,
And Dr.
thank
Sleep,
Yeah,
tell
thanks a
them
lot.
what you do with your readings. Your very soothing voice to fall asleep to. Very rarely do I get to hear the end of the story whenever I listen to them. So
Man,
just wake up at the end.
really, and I'm sure you know this too. I really appreciate your comments. I think you comment on everyone, and so does Nez, and of course my wife has to. She doesn't have a choice, but I read public domain, and I did find a couple of writers that will let me read their stories, and so I've kind of branched off into that a little bit. But mostly it's public domain, just to avoid any strikes and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
I hope that as the channel grows, that I get more writers that will let me read their
I'm hoping too
work.
to get more submissions from the community and things that people have written themselves.
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like that.
but
So,
yeah, it's mainly for relaxation, and because I've been told my voice is calming, and I put my wife to sleep every night with it. Before, we pray every night before
Robin,
we
I
go to
was
bed.
just getting ready to say bye to you when you left. Everybody tell Robin bye. She just slipped out. I think she
Bye,
had to
Robin.
go. Just
Oh,
getting ready to say
goodbye, Robin. You did
Bye.
fantastic.
thank you, darling. We appreciate it.
Mhm.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Jason. I just
No,
saw her
that's
leave.
important.
I wanted to make sure.
That's important. It's important to make
So
sure.
yeah,
to
and
say
y'all
goodbye.
know Nez. She's a painter and does art and drawings and sculpts and all that stuff, and sings to you while she does it. So what more can you ask for? And Okio, tell them a little bit about you, Oki.
Man, I grow cannabis.
He-
I used to be more on the YouTube, but man, I'm pretty involved in a pretty big greenhouse farm. Learning a
good.
lot, and man, I'm trying to help the patients of Oklahoma just get clean,
Right.
quality cannabis
Cool.
legally, of course, legally, 100% legally.
Right.
Aren't you a patient advocate, or what do you call yourself? Your medical marijuana advocate?
I'm a cannabis caregiver here. There's less of us than there are commercial growers. There's only like 1,700 of us total. Over 100,000 patients. And it's really hard to get. It's not a scam so you can grow more plants to sell or whatever. I can't sell any of it. I can't even give it away, honestly. I can only give it to my patient.
Right.
But it really helped me learn cannabis and the medical benefits of it. And it might not be the cure-all, but it 100% helps cancer patients. I've seen it with my own eyes, and that's why I'm in. That's why I do what I do.
Yeah.
It's not, trust me, it's not for the money. I was making way more money out on the road doing electrical work. But man, if you love what you do, it's not even work. So
yeah, that's true. That is true, my friend.
All right, everybody, say goodbye to the chat.
Good night, everybody. God
Good
bless.
night, everybody.
Well,
Thank
have
you.
a good one.
Saturday night.
See you Saturday night. Thank you. Good night.
Good night.